Hello, everybody. My name is Jason, and I wanted to introduce to you a concept that I've come up with. I'm pretty sure some other people have also come up with a similar idea. Ever since seeing the next side set to come out that introduced the cards Yummy, the little cat shape treats. Almost feels like a mix between Prank Kids and Madolches, honestly, with the art design and the concept behind them. I decided to come up with a build that I'm going to be trying out once the set's released in the States later this year. Not sure when that'll be just yet, as we don't even have the final reveal of the last archetype in it. But this is what I've come up with so far, so please leave any comment, questions, or opinions down below, and here we go. As you can see, this is the deck list in front of you. Now, what we start off with is just standard cross-out targets with one nib and one shifter. Depending on the format, or if shifter gets hit in the next ban list, you can replace this for another nib, which I'd prefer to do. It's just both of these cards will hurt you if they go off. Now, we are complementing this engine of the Yummies with an invoked engine, because Alistair is a affordable option, but also a really powerful option. And not to mention, I got like secrets of everything from the set that they originally came from, except for Alistair the Invoker himself, who got an upgrade in Shadows of Valhalla. So, you know, I wanted to play them in something. For those that don't know, Alistair the Invoker has the ability to, on normal summon, add Invocation, their fusion spell, from deck to hand. And also, while in hand, you can discard them as a quick effect to boost any fusion by 1,000 points. Neither effect is once per turn. This just works as adding a negate on board. The fusions we'll get into when we get to the extra deck, but it's kind of standard lineup. It just gives you either an OTK option or an extra negate. Then we got, of course, Triple Ash Blossom, because I mean, it's a hand trap that is going to see play till the end of time, probably. Now we get on to the Yummies. We're going to start off with Triple Cookie Yummy. All Yummy monsters are Light Beast, level 1. This one has 1,000 attack, 0 defense. And if you control, they all state if you control a Link 1 or a level 2 Synchro, you can special summon them from the hand. But you can only special summon them once per turn that way. Cool part is it doesn't have to be an archetype Link 1 or level 2 Synchro, so this is why Alistair actually works with it so well. Then, on summon, you can do one of two effects. If it's summoned any other way than being summoned by the effects of a Synchro monster, you can decrease the attack of one monster your opponent controls by 1,000. If it's summoned by a Synchro monster, you can destroy that target instead. So basically, they all kind of got a gist. They got one effect on summon, but if they're summoned by the effects of a Synchro monster, you can either do the first effect or a more powerful effect. So this is going to be your removal, because you have ways of summoning this on your opponent's turn. You're going to use this to pop a card more times than not. The decrease effect you're barely ever going to do unless it's to get over something in battle. Then you have two Lollilipo? I just call them Lollipop. Yummy. Same summoning condition. Its effect is when summoned a standard way, it'll target a card in the grave, shuffle it back into the deck. Opponent's grave, I believe, right? Yeah, opponent's grave only. But if summoned by a Synchro monster, you can banish that target instead. So it's either DD Crow or shuffling back into the deck. And honestly, you might use the shuffle back more than the banish because it's a lot harder for them to get things back in today's format. And also, it ain't like you're going to want to banish a Malice or anything like that. You only run 2 because, if I'm going to be honest, it's not as good seeing multiples on your first turn because they're most likely not going to have anything in the grave, or if they do, it's a hand trap, which you're most likely only going to be able to shuffle back into the deck. Probably not something you want to do. But being able to bring this out on your opponent's turn through a synchro effect, which they can do, will give you a grave manipulation while the other one gives a pop. Then we got the Stratos of the deck, Cupsiummy. It's a 0 attack, 1600 defense light monster, or light beast. Lollipop is a 600, 1200 light level 1 beast. Forgot to mention that. Cupsy, summoned same way. When summoned the standard way, you can add a Yummy card, that's card, monster spell or trap, from deck to hand. But if summoned by a synchro, you can choose to draw a card instead, if you want to. So both of its effects are really powerful. Then, of course, you're going to be running triple Droll and triple Veiler. The reason why Droll is actually a little more versatile in this deck than just stopping your opponent from searching or stopping, your opponent from searching. It's also a level 1 that you can actually summon and use to get into certain aspects of gameplay here, because their link and their synchros are all generic. And you do not need a tuner to be able to go into their synchros. We'll get into that when we get there. But if you want to use a tuner, you can, and that's where the level 1 effect Veiler can come in handy as a tuner option. Plus, Veiler negates shit, so it's that. You do run a very small Sky Striker engine of 3 Engage, 1 Hornet Drone, and 1 Kagari. The Engage is just to get to the Hornet Drone. You will most likely never get the draw. Maybe on rare occasions you'll get the draw. But it's literally just to get you to Hornet Drones. Hornet Drones summons a token, specifically a Sky Striker Ace token. Warrior Dark, it's a level 1. Keep this in mind. Most people that I've talked to believe that this is a level 4 because Sky Striker Ace is a level 4. But it's not. It's a level 1. It has 0 attack, 0 defense. It doesn't matter if it gains the 1500 stat line. All that matters is that it's a level 1 token. And trust me, this is a 1-card, basically 1-card instant combo into the Yummy side of things. I mean, this will get you your whole engine started just off of seeing Engage. Then we'll go over to the Invocation, which is what Alistair searches. It lets you fusion summon from your extra deck 1 fusion monster, using monsters as from your hand as material, only your hand, or you can, if going for an invoked fusion monster, also banish materials from your hand or, hand-filled, your side of the field, or either player's graveyard. So if you're just fusing for anything out of the ordinary, it's polymerization, but you can only use materials from the hand. But if you go for an invoked fusion, you can fuse from your field, your hand, or either player's graveyard. And trust me, that's really powerful. Then if Alistair the Invoker is banished, now you do have to, by the way, banish the materials if going for an invoked fusion. So you send from your hand, banish from the field, or either grave materials. And if your Alistair the Invoker is in the banish zone while this is in the grave, you can shuffle this back into the deck to add that card to your hand. This is how his hand trap effect of boosting comes in handy. Plus, it's a constant engine. You can just keep summoning, searching, fusing, shuffling back, summoning, searching, fusing, shuffling back, until the end of time. Now, the shuffle back effect of invocation is a once per turn, but that is the only aspect that's once per turn. Then, of course, we have called by because you really want to get your plays off, and triple cross out. If cross out ends up going to 1, this may change some. Maybe we'll put an instant fusion with a Millennium Eyes Restrict, which is basically another version of Called by the Grave. Or maybe Called by will go to 2. I don't know. The deck may change if come the ban list invocation, or not invocation, but if come the ban list cross out is hit in some way. Time will tell. Then we have 3 Magical Meltdown. This is a filled spell for Alistair. On activation, you can add an Alistair the Invoker from deck to hand. And honestly, that's really about the only thing you care about. Technically, your opponent can't activate any cards or effects when you fusion summon. And they can't negate the fusion spells from fusion summoning, but that aspect don't matter. Literally you're using it just as a rota to get into Alistair. Because you replace the filled spell through the Yummy theme. They have 2 of their own that they can cycle out pretty much on either player's turn, once per turn. And depending on whose turn it is which filled spell it is. And it doesn't activate, or it doesn't add to hand, it activates from deck. So they're filled spells through certain means. So, you don't really use invocation, or not invocation, but Magical Meltdown for anything except that. Then we start off with Yummy's Mint Minion, the first filled spell. This is the one you're going to use on your turn, and you're only going to run 1 of each because they have an ability to shuffle back. All of them state, if this card's in your grave, you could target 2 Yummy monsters in your grave and or banishment. Place them and this card at the bottom of your deck in any order. So you only need to run literally 1 of each because you're going to be able to shuffle them back in and re-get them back out through the means this deck can do. What this one does is, while it's on the field, Yummy monsters you control gain 500 attack for each light beast on your field. Now, this is any light beast. This is even if you're running, I don't know, Fables or something in your deck, they're going to gain that off them. Now, keep in mind, this is 500 attack for each. Not each of them gains 500 attack. No, each of your Yummy monsters gain 500 attack per light beast, meaning that if you have 3 light beasts on the field, all your Yummies will be gaining 1,500. This adds up, and this is how you're going to OTK most of the damn time, because you'll get 4 or 5 on the field, but them gaining 2,000 attack or more. So yeah, you can spam the field really easily with this. It also has the effect that if you control a if you control any link one, even generic link ones, you can target a level 1 Yummy monster in your grave and special summon it. Its effects are not negated, and you can do this once per turn. And the reason why this is so useful is that you can, even if you only have 1 Yummy in your hand, you can normal summon, link it off, use this filled spell to bring it back, and then go into your plays. This is very, very crucial. And then it has the shuffle back effect. Now, on your opponent's turn, you're going to swap this one out for Yummy Scent Krookie. A Krookie. That's an interesting word. And what this one says, it also has the shuffle back effect. But this one also states that if you synchro summon a light beast synchro monster, you can target a card on your opponent's field and destroy it. So this gives you an additional destruction. It is targeting destruction, but it is destruction that you can play on your opponent's turn. And the last effect this one has, that is, if a face-up monster or monsters you control leave the field by an opponent's card effect, you can special summon a Yummy monster from your deck. Now, you can only use that effect once per turn. I'm thinking. That would technically, I think. Hold on. So you trigger one card your opponent controls destroy. If a face-up card, you can special summon one Yummy monster from your deck. Actually, this one is not once per turn. Is it? Oh, yeah, it is. You can only use each effect of this card once per turn. For a second, this card actually looked a little more broken than I thought it was. But this is really cool. It lets you get into the Yummy monsters you're missing or that you had shuffled back to get the build spells in play. It also, gives you an additional pop on your opponent's turn, which is pretty nice. Then, of course, you got your triple Imperm and your one Yummy Redemption, which is their continuous trap. This card's actually kind of nuts. Okay, so while it's face up on the field, monsters your opponent control lose 200 attack for each light beast you control and in your grave. So 200 for every single one. And trust me when I say you fill up your grave and field pretty quickly, they're going to probably lose a stack easily. Then, this is the real good effect because it's once per chain, not once per turn, not once per copy, once per chain. If you synchro summon a light beast synchro monster, you can draw a card, then place a card from your hand on the bottom of your deck. You get to sculpt your hand every single time you synchro in a turn. That's nuts. So if you have some cards you don't need and you draw into some hand traps, that's even more interruption. Then it has a graveyard effect. So if you get it in the grave or if your opponent destroys it, you can use this effect. And there's no except the turn this card was sent to the grave crap. You can banish this card from your grave, then target one Yummy monster you control and any monster your opponent controls. Switch control of both those monsters. Now you can only use this effect of Yummy Redemption once per turn. So it's basically creature swap, except you get to pick what's getting swapped. That's nuts. Though that really cool, powerful monster, cool. I'll take it. I'll give you a 0 attack monster in attack mode. Now, let's get into the extra deck. Side deck will be, of course, depending on what the format is at this time. We have 2 Invoked Macabas, one of each artwork. Macaba just takes Alistair and a light monster. That's why Invocation is so useful. You can banish a light monster from your opponent's grave, from your field, from your grave, or send it from your hand to the grave, as long as you want to be banishing Alistair. And it is a Omni Negate. Once per turn, when a spell, trap, or monster effect is activated, you can quick effect discard a card of the same type, monster, spell, or trap, and if you do, you negate and banish that card. It's a once per turn Omni Negate, but it's a soft once per turn, so if you have multiples in the field, you get double negates. And then you also run one Purgatrio, which is a Alistair and a fire monster, so you're going to, focus on Ash. You can also use your Ray, or Kagari, in the grave as an option too. Or if your opponent is playing some fire bullshit like that Fire Princess, get her to fuck out. This card gains 200 attack for each card your opponent controls. It can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each. And if it attacks a defense position monster, shove it up their ass with some piercing battle damage. So that's your OTK and negate. You also, over here towards the links, right after you get past the yummy ones, you have one Magistus Maiden of Artemis, which just requires a level 4 or lower spellcaster. You link off Alistair, and then you can start summoning your yummy monsters. And then do your plays with them, and then later on in the turn, if you want to, activate Invocation and banish Alistair and a light from your grave or a fire from your grave to go for whatever play you want to go for. Also, keep in mind, Droll and Baylor are also both spellcasters. So if you need access to the Link 1, they can also get you there. Another reason why you run them. Now, let's get into the Yummy Synchros, shall we? Every Yummy Synchro is a level 2 light beast. Tuner. Keyword, tuner. So you can run things like Arclight, basically any Synchro 4, maybe even 6. I think anything higher than that, if you're not running Pistiles, though, is going to be kind of hard to do, but hell, you want to throw some Pistiles up in the sumbitch, you can start going for like 10s and 8s. Now, here's the key thing about them. They're all generic. They require one tuner, one or more non-tuners. And for the Synchro summon of this card, you can treat a Link 1 monster you control as a level 1 tuner. So any Link 1 becomes a level 1 tuner. Let that sink in. That's why Kagari, a Link 1, and the Ace token that it gets back, a level 1, is Instant Combo. That's why Alistair, or even Droll or Valor, becoming a Link 1, as long as you have a Yummy in hand, is Instant Combo. It's pretty crazy. So the first one we're going to start off with is Cookie Yummy Way. The Synchro thing is for all of them. If this card is Synchro summoned once per turn, you can target up to 2 face-up monsters on the field, either field. I wish it didn't target, but it does. Change them to face-down defense position, i.e. Book of Lunar Eclipse, Double Book of Moon. Flip those bitches down. Really powerful effect. This is something you're going to Synchro on your opponent's turn to basically Book of Moon them before they even get started. Then all the Synchros also have this effect that when your opponent activates a card or a effect, could be monster, could be spell, could be trap, quick effect, once per turn, you can return this card to the extra deck to special summon up to 2 Yummy monsters from your graveyard. And their effects aren't negated. This is how your Synchro monsters special summon them and give them their additional effects. So you book, tag out, and go into the next one. Kind of mentality. Then we have Lollipop or Lolupoo, however you pronounce it. I say Lollipop. Yummy Way. For the Synchro summon of this card, level 1 Link 1 becomes a level 1 tuner. Yeah. You can only use each effect once per turn. If this card is Synchro summoned, you can special summon 2 Yummy monsters from your grave, but their effects are negated. And then it has the tag out effect to summon 2 from the grave. Now, at first glance, this may not seem like much, but you're not under any restrictions unless you use the Link 1. So you go into this, bring back 2. Well, you can use those 2 for Link materials, maybe into an IP, SP, or even an access code. And cool. And then if you tag out, you get to bring 2 back, and those 2 do not have their effects negated. This son of a gun lets you Link climb crazily, or Synchro climb too, you know. Keep that in mind as well as a possibility. Because all of the Synchros are tuners. Then we have the starter of the deck, Cupsy Yummy Way. Same summoning condition, and then once per turn, if this card is Synchro summoned, you can add 2 Yummy monsters from your deck to your hand. Does have to be 2. It's not up to 2. Do keep that in mind. You have to add 2 Yummy monsters, period. Or you can't activate the effect, and then you have to discard 1 card from your hand. This is one of the ways to get the trap in the grave if you want to. You could search it off of Cupsy, the normal summon or special summon from the hand. And then search it and then go into this and then discard it if you want to. Though, honestly, it on the field is kind of good getting you those hand traps. And then it has a tag out effect. I will say that Cookie has 1600 attack, 0 defense. Lollipop is 1200, and Cupsy is 0 attack but 2200 defense. And this can add up. Keep in mind with Lollipop here, if you have the field spell minion out, you're going to be boosting everything by 1500 from its own effect. And that's not even counting if you can get others out. And that's 1500 per yummy monster. It's kind of crazy. Now we're going to go over to link 1, and you don't want to use its first effect until after you've gotten all, if like you're going to go for access code or any link 3 or anything like that, anything above a link 2. If you're going to go for any of that, go for that first, then go for its first effect, because it will lock you. It is a level 4 or lower light beast. He's 600 attack. Light beast, obviously. If this card is special summoned, that's not link summoned, special summoned, you can place a yummy field spell from your hand or deck face up in your field zone. But you cannot link summon link 3 or higher monsters for the rest of the turn. So do them first, then do this. Now, its other effect is a once per chain. During the main phase or your opponent's battle phase, and it's either player's main phase or your opponent's battle phase. Quick effect, pay 100 life points. Wow, that's such a cost. Oh my god, how are we going to survive all that cost? To immediately, after this effect resolves, synchro summon 1 synchro monster using monsters you control as material, including a yummy. Keeping in mind that link 1s are treated as level 1 tuners. This is how you're going to get your synchro plays going. Once you go into this, you put the appropriate field spell up. You get other yummies on the field. You pay 100 on your opponent's turn and either book a moon, revive, whatever the case may be. And your end board will usually, if you can see both sides of it, will end with an Omni Negate, 2 pops, and a Book of Moon. Well, double Book of Moon. Because you get a pop from Cookie, Yummy, and a pop from the field spell, a Cookie. And then a double Book of Moon from Cookie, Yummy Way. And that's not even, and then of course the Omni Negates from Magaba. And that's not even counting hand traps, or maybe you want to put like Herald of Arclight in here or something to give you more additional plays. This is all from engine alone. You can get 5 interruptions. That's pretty nuts. Of course, as you see the Kagari, altered art. I just like the altered art. The Magistus, which I've explained. You got IP Masquerena, if this card does stick around. If not, you can replace it for pretty much whatever. SP Little Knight, because, you go into IP after going into Lollipop, Yummy Way. Bring back 2 materials. You're going to bring back 2 non-links. Go into IP, and then when you tag out at some point on your opponent's turn, you can link it into SP. Then, during like the end of your opponent's turn or on your turn, go back into Lollipop. Keep in mind, you have plenty of ways to get back into it. If they do anything, you can tag it back into the extra deck, or you can always link it off and then shuffle it back in with the field spell's graveyard's effects to be able to get 2 material. You go into it, you get 2 materials back. It could be whatever, and then you link into a link 3, which can be whatever. I went with Trigate Wizard because of, honestly put, 2 reasons. One, if there's a link arrow pointing down, I tend to forget and go into the yummy link, which then locks me and prevents me from going into access code. I've done this multiple times, so this has no link arrows pointing down, so there's no way to legally make that mistake. But if you're not an idiot like me, you can really go into any. It doesn't matter, as long as they don't lock or hinder you in any way, like transcode would. It locks you into cyber, so if you haven't done all your other yummy plays, you're kind of screwed. But I picked this one because stupidity and because it's Earth. It's going to guaranteely give me the yummy link is a light. IP and SP are dark, and that's an Earth. That's 3 pops, possibly 4 if I have Kagari in the grave. That's not bad. I'm rainbowing this shit, okay? Yeah, I guess the only thing you're missing is what? Wind and water? So, I mean, you know, honestly pick any link 3 you want, but I would advise picking something that's not dark, light, or fire. That way you get an additional pop. So, maybe I don't know. You know what? I'm going to let you all figure that out. And then, of course, you got access code. You'll target your link 3, gain 3,000, get 3 pops. And then if you did this on your opponent's turn, you can then shuffle things back in and go into it again, get the appropriate field spell out, have access code with Macabre in hand that you can boost to 3,500. With like 3 to 4 light beasts on the field, all gaining 500 for each one. So now you got like, I don't know, anywhere from like 426 to 3,100 attackers on the field, a 25 and a 55 or 53, I guess. So yeah, you're overkilling here. And the deck is just a lot of fun. It's such a cool concept. The Invoke stuff you should be able to pick up relatively cheap. I may have the higher rarity versions, but you can pick that up pretty cheap. Engage is a tiny bit, and Hornet Drones is like 5. Crossouts and called bys are dirt cheap. Hell, the Blue Eye structure deck just reprinted Valor, Nib, Ash, and Imperm. So you just have to pick up Droll and maybe a Shifter if you want to run the crossouts. So super easy there now. And the link should be fairly easy to get. I think SP might be a little bit, might be like $10. IP, Kagari, Artemis. Artemis got reprinted out of hell in Rarity Collection. And so did SP. And IP for that matter, so you should be fine there. Access code might be a little bit, I'm not sure. And when the yummy stuff gets here, I don't know, we'll see. Depends on how many secrets and ultras there are, or if this is the most sought after set, or is the next release going to be the more sought after one. Anyway, let me know your thoughts below. And until next time, peace out.